Hello?
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 Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can't see you though. Is there any way you could turn on your webcam?
Sure.
Brilliant. Hello. So, yeah, I guess I should start by introducing myself. So I'm Meg, and I think we've been emailing a bit, so you kind of know a bit about me already. But I'm one of the community moderators for the London and Partners community. First things first, just want to say thank you so much for all of your time over the last few weeks. I know it's been very time-consuming completing all the activities. So we're really grateful for that, and I think everyone's provided some really valuable feedback, which London Partners are really happy with, so thank you. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to do a follow-up interview to hear a bit more about your views specifically, and I think you're one of the people who we thought were kind of particularly touched on areas that London Partners are kind of very keen to explore, so we thought it would be good to speak to you and kind of hear more of your insight. And the reason we're doing it via Zoom is so that we can record the session and be able to integrate a few quotes back into the report for London and Partners. So I just wanted to check that's all okay with you.
Sounds good.
Sure. Brilliant. Okay, so I guess firstly, would you be able to just introduce yourself, say where you're from, and explain a bit more about your role as Global Programs Manager for ERA?
Sure. So obviously, my name is Nina. I'm based in New York, and I run global programs here at ERA. We are New York first early stage tech accelerator and seed investment fund. So meaning that we make direct investment in companies and we support them to accelerate the program. Now, in terms of the global programs, so it's a rather new division that we started about 5 years ago. And the goal of the global program is to support global companies that want to enter the US market. We saw that with ERA, we had a lot of companies from across the world really applying to our program. And we thought to ourselves that, great companies are really everywhere. And as a result of that, we decided to create ERA Global as a separate entity. And so I run those programs. We really look at companies that are a bit more advanced. And by that, I really mean, advanced has to take a lot of, depending on the country that we look at. Basically, companies have already some traction in their existing market, looking really, they're at a point of growth where it's time for them to kind of come to the US. And so with our expertise running an accelerator for almost the past 10 years, we think that we are in a good place to basically support them. That's kind of the high level of a few of what we do.
Cool, that sounds super interesting. Thank you. So I guess kind of moving on to talk more about the material. I guess generally before we get more specific, how did you find the week and the kind of taking part in the community generally?
Yeah, I think it was very interesting. Some of the content that was put out there. I think the activity was quite fun as well. It was quite diverse, and I sort of like knew already why sort of what's the word, the purpose of this study. So I was able to, I mean, obviously I was obviously trying to be objective in a lot of my answers, but I knew that where London Partners wants to go with that. So it was very interesting to kind of like, content wise, it was very thematic. I will say that some activities were not intuitive at all. So I just really didn't know what exactly was asked for me, particularly when I had a bunch of data being provided and I was supposed to make comments and how I felt about it. So I wasn't really sure what that meant, as in, was I surprised to see that, or was I kind of like, was it expected? So I wasn't sure if it was for me, either seeing if it's accurate information or not. So that was, I thought that could have been better explained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good to know. Thank you for feeding that back. So I guess aside from your experience in terms of the specific material overall, if you had to kind of comment, what did you think of the material overall, or everything you saw kind of in that week?
Yeah, I mean, I think the material were good. I think it was like I said, a good mix of from videos to actual survey results, things like that. I think the material was good. I mean, there was stuff that I also didn't know, so it was good knowledge for me to have and be aware of what London has. I mean, a lot of things that I was expected. I knew that London was a big hub. So when we look at for example the workforce diversity, that was to me, but I'll say, when, for example, I saw that the amount of funding being implemented in London compared to other countries in Europe, or the big cities in Europe, I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, no,
absolutely, that's super interesting. Thank you. So, I think something you said that kind of captivated us was London is in many ways similar to New York, and I think you were talking about it in terms of kind of multiculturalism and a lot of the kind of lifestyle and culture aspects. I wondered if you could talk a bit more about that. And I'm not sure I don't know whether you've had kind of experience in London, but obviously you're New York based, so it'd be interesting to hear kind of your thoughts on that.
No, absolutely. So I do have experience actually in London. Well, I went to school in the UK, but I went up north for my undergrad, and then I did live in London for a bit for work and things like that. So yes, in many ways, and I used to tell it a lot. New York, London are two of some of my favorite cities. Sure, they are a bit similar in many regards. So multiculturalism is one way you've touched on. In terms of the diversity of thought, culture, obviously thoughts, but also in terms of talent that you find. So the amount of universities that are, I think there are more universities in New York, but I think in terms of the prestige worldly, it really when you look at New York, it's really Columbia and NYU, whereas in London you have SOAS, UCL, Imperial, LSE. So it's such a small density, you have quite very reputable institutions, and as a result of that, quite a fair amount of research actually being done, and by research, both scientific research, but also when I say scientific, is I'm literally talking about hardcore robots and things like that, but also more lean, fast software, a lot of AI being introduced as well. So I think in that way, we see a lot of that in both, but also I see in terms of the way the public and the private are working together. I haven't seen that. I also live in Paris. I haven't seen the same way I've seen in New York and London, the way that the public, as in the public, really the city of London, for instance, works with the private. So when you look at the partnerships that are being generated between what the mayor of London, the office of, and you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, you've just it says your signal's gone down. It's slightly dipped.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, no, that's frozen.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to say this again. So I was